It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics out there? This is Larry Patterson for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports right here on the GTSN. It's the Game Time Sports Network. Here for episode 38. We're going through the AFC and NFC South win totals. Just go through their schedule real quick. We're not going to be long here today. Go through the schedule real quick, and then our opinions about it. And there we already have the number of the win totals they have. We're going to see if they can overpass that, or whether they can under succeed on that. We'll also talk about two other subjects as well. Amon, how you doing today? I can barely see you, brother.
I know. I think I'm in a bad spot today, man. I'm doing all right, man. It's been a long, long 3 weeks, man. So I'm just trying to recover. I'll get my lighting right here in a minute. So forgive me, guys.
All right. So the first topic that we're going to talk about, Brendan Sorsby, with the NFL declining to hold a supplemental draft, and I think he was the only player a part of the supplemental draft. They haven't had a supplemental draft since 2018. Am I correct?
I think it's 2019, but you ain't far off.
Yeah. So they haven't had a supplemental draft since then, and they're declining to have one now. And I'm thinking because of all the controversy with Sorsby, basically he admitted to making thousands of wagers totaling up to $90,000. Now, here's my thing. A couple years ago with Calvin Ridley and Wazirike, I remember from the Broncos, and a couple other guys, when they got suspended for like a year or a certain amount of games. I know Calvin Ridley for like a whole year got suspended for gambling. And then this guy holding you holding a supplemental draft for him, strictly for him. Let's be honest. For him to be a part of a team, I don't think it would be right for him to to join a team, even though he probably would have to be subjected to miss some time. But what's your overall thoughts on this? Was this the best decision, or what?
Huh. So when the initial news came out, it was like, he betting on. So he betted on some games when he was at Indiana a few years ago, but I don't think he played in those games. Um, for me, I was I'm not shocked, you know, and this is for the record, Swordsby's not the only one. He just the one of them got caught.
That
It's called
call,
like
yeah.
that's all that is. Um, him transferring from Cincinnati, going to Texas Tech. I thought initially that he was just going to go to rehab, get the help he need, and then serve this 2 game suspension, and then come back week 3. Because I think the first couple games are like cupcakes that they play, um, and then come back and get into the Big 12 schedule. But then initially, I thought that way he'll be fine. But the more I thought about it as time went on, I'm like, maybe he do need to enter the supplemental draft, and they were going to have it just for him in the middle of in the middle of July, but as time went on, I'm like, me and you and everybody out here that watches the NFL, they know the league, and I'm like, they're not going to just let him skate in there and not have no type of punishment for what he did 2-3 years ago. I mean, I know they had a back and forth verse with the NCAA. They denied him, then they gave him permission to play, and then they took his stuff away again today. So I'm like, yeah, the league's not gonna let you just come up in there and come into a training camp in July and just act like nothing ever happened. So I wasn't surprised when the final ruling came down today that he will not be eligible for the supplemental draft. I think they're going to do some legal stuff on his team's behalf, and unfortunately, fortunately for us draft guys and us, for me, I'm a draft nerd. It's just one more quarterback that we have to keep an eye on for the 2026 season going into the 2027 draft cycle, up there with Arch Manning and the Darian Mensahs, Dante Moores, the Drew Mestamakers, the Julian Sands, the CJ Cars. I can go on and on.
Chambliss.
Yeah, Chambliss, Sam Levitt, you name them. So it's just another prospect for me to to study and get to know a lot more going into this 2027 draft cycle. So I'm not surprised. It sucks that we couldn't see his talent on the college field for one more time. I think he will, when we get to that point in the process, I think he will garner some first round interest. I think if he had came out this year, he would have been QB2 behind Mendoza, in my opinion. But yeah, man, I mean, this remind me of different situations, but COVID year, Jamar Chase, he didn't play after he won that championship. He said, "Hey, nah, I'm just gonna sit out and wait for
Yeah.
the draft." Granted, COVID was a total different situation than gambling. So this would be a good year for him to sit down and get with some NFL guys and prepare for the combine and the scouting process come late January, early February, March.
Yeah, I was just about to say I don't think he's eligible to be going back to Texas Tech. So basically, you're sitting out a whole year. Basically, you have to train. Get all your training out of any facility. Wherever. But I think that's the best move. I think that was the best decision for the NFL because if that did happen, then you're going to have a whole lot of guys like, hey, wait a minute here. We had to sit out a whole year due to gambling. Whatever they gambled, I'm not sure of. But you were going to have some side eyes if he was able to be able to, be drafted and be able to play somewhat during the season. I still think he was going to be subjected to like maybe a 6-game suspension or something like that.
Yeah. It would have been probably a 2 to 6 game suspension coming in from the league. But I think about it. I think to me personally, I think it's a blessing in disguise because if he had came in and with the supplementary draft, excuse me, I can't talk today. He would have became in at a training camp. He would have been behind. He would have missed mini camp, OTAs, rookie mini camp. So he would have been behind the 8 ball on so much stuff, to whatever team may have, submitted a third or fourth round draft pick for him. Like say, for example, this is the popular teams, the Jets and the Browns. They're the two most popular teams. Are probably desperate for quarterbacks for the future. Let's say the Jets submitted a fourth round pick for him, a bid at fourth round pick. Okay, you get him in training camp. Cool. You still got Geno Smith. He's going to be your starter for the year. So what about all that install time from draft, rookie minicamp, OTAs that he's missed to catch up to where some of the guys that are coming into training camp already had that learning. So I think he would have been behind the 8 ball as far as learning the scheme and the verbiage and everything of that nature, in my opinion. So
Thanks.
I think him. Like I said, once everything happens for a reason. I think he'll get a full off season, a full season in the fall to prepare himself, a full off season to get around some NFL coaches, some quarterback gurus that and we know who they are that's out there in the Twitterverse, and some very good ones to get acclimated to the NFL regimen, NFL program. So when he do come into a team next year, he can just pick back up and be a normal rookie, if that makes sense.
He would have been the second quarterback off the board this year. Next year,
in 2026, I think he would have went ahead of Ty Simpson only because of the tools that he has a little bit of dual threat ability. He has an arm. I think some of his tools and with the NFL, they're enamored with guys that can do multiple things. He has a little. Now, when I say this, I don't want you to jump off the bridge, proverbial bridge. He has a little bit of Josh Allen to him.
because he is both.
Yeah, he is. He has a little bit of Josh. He has a little bit of Josh Allen to him, in my opinion. For what I've seen so far, I haven't seen a whole lot. gonna be transparent. I haven't dug into his tape yet, but I think with the way the league is trending, I think somebody would have pulled the trigger on him before Ty Simpson. Maybe not say the top 10, maybe back half of the first round. But we all know the Rams, how they operate. I don't think the Jets would have let him get by, or the Browns, or if Minnesota hadn't signed Kyler, I would have. I don't think they would have let him get by. You know them. Like I said, Minnesota picking 18 instead of that pick being Caleb Banks. I think they would have threw a dart at Brendan Sorsby. In my humble opinion, that's if they didn't sign Kyler in free agency, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
the Rams being who the Rams are, and they can afford to do those things, as having a deep roster, a Super Bowl winning roster right now, they can afford to take Ty Simpson. But if it wasn't a regular normal year, I think it would have been Mendoza, Sorsby, Simpson probably in the first round in 2026. They're going into next year. He has a lot of competition with them next year because you got the guys I named. You got Mensa, you got Sand, you got Sellers, you got Levitt, you got CJ Carr. We ain't even mention Arch Dante Moore, Drew Mestamaker. It's probably some guys that I'm missing right now that he's going to have to compete with. So I, it's hard. It's hard for me to say, where I would slot him right now because Lenore's had a rocky 2 years, but we all know the tools are there. We all know what Arch brings to the table right now, so we're looking for another jump. And we all know Dante Moore, if he had came out 2026, he probably would have been 1A, 1B, depends on who you ask and who you talk to. So it's kind of it's going to be a what's your flavor type of what's your favorite ice cream flavor in 2027 because there's so much to choose from. We didn't even mention John Mateer from Oklahoma. We didn't even mention him. Then you got Josh Hoover in Indiana. So it's going to be tough to see where he fits up in next year's draft cycle. But it sucks that he don't have this year to put it on film again to show the NFL that hey, I'm capable of being QB1, QB2. But hey, that's just the way the league goes, and that's the choices that you made, and we're gonna see what happens.
I guess that's why they can only go off of last year's film, and as what I was about to tell you before you had already finished it up. It's going to be kind of hard for him to be that that would have been if he had came out or if he had been selected or eligible. It's going to be hard for him to be like the second quarterback. Now you're looking at, like you said, all these quarterbacks that are putting stuff on film now, this season. It's going to be hard for them to say, okay, we're going to overlook this guy. Let's pick Brendan. Like, it's going to be kind of hard.
Yeah, because you're going to have to go back to 2025 film. There's no 2026 film. You're going to have to go back to 2020. You're going to have to go back to 2024, 2025 to see, is this what I'm getting when I draft you into my program next year? And not saying that, the guys that coming out this year, they have a leg up. That's playing this fall has a leg up on them because they get potentially 15 more games to put some good stuff on film. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting, man. But I once again, like I said, this league is a quarterback driven league, and with all these guys coming out, and somebody's gonna take a shot. And I think, from what, like I said, a little bit I've seen, if you get them late in the first, you may have something on your hands.
The last 2 years, over 20, well, in 2024, 2,813 yards and 18 touchdowns. This past year, 2,800 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So, and that's the glory of that Big 12 conference. And
Right. Yeah, that's the glory of the Big 12 conference. Before we move on, and So Texas Tech, they're gonna spend money. It was always the Texas, the Oklahomas. They wanted to spend the money to get the good players. Now you got Texas Tech with their boosters coming in and getting good players as well. They were just in the college football playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So it sucks that you want to see him with more high end talent around him to see what he really can be in his final season. But it's one of them things that you just won't see in 27 and 26. Sorry.
All right, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. What you guys think? Was it a good decision? Was it a bad decision? Tell me what you guys think. Moving on to the next topic here. We got some guys that got paid this past today and last week, or was it early this week that Jeffery Simmons got paid?
I think it was late last week. I think it was Sunday. Sunday he got paid.
Something like that. But
it depends on how you look at the week.
Jeffery Simmons got a 3-year extension, 105 point something. I know it was in that range, but it was $100 million guaranteed. And it was 35 a year.
35, yeah.
So he eclipsed Chris Jones
by like $4 million, I believe.
And then Kyle Pitts got a 3-year extension today. It was like 54, 3 years, 54. He got like 36 guaranteed,
mm-hmm.
36 million guaranteed. Remember before the offseason hit, we were sitting here saying Kyle Pitts could be a trade candidate or a candidate to be released or whatnot, but seemed like he came a long way from his struggles, and he's getting rewarded with a big payday. What you think?
Yeah, man. I remember me and you talking here for the draft. It was like, man, he can get traded draft night. Remember we kept saying somebody from Kansas City, somebody can trade for him, give up something for him. I remember, heck, you even wanted to try to get him over there in Denver for a little bit. But, he had a good season last year. And, quarterback play was inconsistent, with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix with injuries and everything. And he had a pretty good year. So, I think the Falcons are doing the right thing and extending him. Number 4 overall pick back in 2020. 20. It was early 2020, maybe 2021, I want to say. Maybe. Producer, check me and correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, man, they're collecting, they're taking care of their talent.
2021.
There you go. I know I wasn't too far off. They paid Drake London. They gave him 141. They gave Kyle Pitts what he deserved. So who's next. They're going to get you want to get your horse taken care of next. So. And it's going to be it's like we said a couple shows ago. It's going to be a game of chicken between him and Jahmyr Gibbs. Who's going to sign first? Who's going to one up the next person? I think if the Falcons and Matt Ryan has come in and he's made a commitment to his offensive weapons, and firsthand he knows what having good offensive weapons can do for a quarterback. Think about it. He had Julio Jones and Tony Gonzalez at his disposal at one point in his career. And we've seen what, having a dominant wide receiver 1 did for him. It took him to a Super Bowl back to almost 10 years ago now. It unfortunately didn't go the way they wanted to. They lost a 28-3 lead. And I think Matt Ryan being, head of football operations or whatever his title is, he knows how important it is to get his quarterback, whoever that may be, whether it's Penix, Tua, or either his quarterbacks on his roster for next year, to give his guys some security blankets. And I think Drake London is a young emerging superstar in this league.
Got paid as well.
5 for 141. And I think you have a Kyle Pitts over there that's 6'6", and can run like a deer. You want to get that locked up and have that continuity for your triplets, as you can say, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson. For the very short, very, very long future here to whoever the quarterback may be for the long term. So I like it for Kyle Pitts, get your money. I'm always an advocate for NFL players getting money and getting security, because we know this thing stands for not for long anyway, because one foul injury and it all could be over with. So I'm happy for Pitts in that regard.
Bijan will be next, I'm assuming.
Think so?
However that goes, running backs don't get paid when they.
Yeah, so I actually think Gibbs will go next. I think the Lions will get ahead of this thing. Like, look, him, because you only going to eclipse one another by maybe a couple $100,000 when you really break the contract down. You know what I mean? So it's not gonna be like a $10 million gap between Bijan and Jameer. So it's like here this we got on the table for you. Take it because I think they got. I don't think they have cap issues yet, but they might be in a good spot now, but they could have some problems coming up here soon with a couple players. You got J-Mo, Golf, St. Brown, Hutchinson on a mega deal. So I think they want to get ahead of it before it get too crazy. I think he'll go and then Bijan will go right afterwards.
One more thing about the Falcons before we move on. And we'll touch on it, I guess, later on, more in depth later this summer. But if Tua or whoever the quarterback is going to be over there got a busload of weapons with Bijan and Drake, and now with Kyle Pitts locked up, there's no and Kevin Stefanski as quarterback. He should have fun drawing some things up in that offense, but they got to be able to deliver consistently over there.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I hear you. But then we said the same thing when Tua had Tyreek and Jalen Waddle as well.
That
and
is
we
true.
Know how and we know how that turned out for them. That team is no more. One's a free agent, one's in Denver, and one's in Atlanta. And they had A-Chain, so he got a re-up A-Chain as well. So to me, yes, it sounds amazing on paper, but till I actually see it, I'm a little skeptical. And so that's why, I hinted at earlier when I said, is the Falcons' future quarterback even on his roster? We don't know. I don't think so, in my personal opinion. Now, Tua can call me a liar. I was a big Tua fan coming out of Alabama because of the Ruggs, and he had Ruggs, Waddle, Judy, and we ain't got to go, all them horses back there. But I don't know, man. I once I see who you are in the league, that's kind of who you are, and I just don't really have that much hope for right now. Hopefully, he can prove me wrong.
And then with Jeffery Simmons, so by him signing his deal, he's locked up, for the next 3 years or so. How did you feel about that? I think it was well deserved.
Yeah, well
He's
deserved. He's been 1A, 1B, in the defensive tackle defensive tackle room, whether it's Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, he's right up there with, in that, not saying he in that class, but when you think about DTs, him, Chris Jones, they're probably the first two. Jalen Carter, they probably come up in your head more than anything. So it's well deserved. My boy Robert Saleh, he needs a cornerstone piece, to take this new defense into a new future, and plus to open up a new stadium next year. So you need marquee pieces, cornerstone pieces for your franchise. So I think he's a cornerstone piece on the defensive side, and Cam Ward would be your cornerstone piece on your offensive side of the ball. So well deserved. You never hear any bad things about Jeffery Simmons off the field. Everything that I've read, he's been a stand-up guy, and I wish we had our guy Mike on here. He can elaborate a lot more. So I probably would talk to him later on this week and get his opinion on the deal. He probably can go a little more depth than we can. He know more about the situation. So, but I'm happy for the Titans. I'm happy for Jeffery Simmons. And I'm happy for all the defensive tackles coming up behind him as well. Jalen Carter's, you name them, the Kobe Turners, those guys that are coming up right behind him, and it's only a good thing for them as well.
Good interior pass rusher. He had a career high 11 sacks this past season. Also great against the run as well. So great payday over for Jeffery Simmons. Great payday. So we're gonna get into our win totals here, and according to Yahoo Sports, we'll start with the NFC South. The win totals for the Buccaneers are 8.5, and for the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers, 7.5.
Man,
For the Panthers, they had on week 1 they got the Bears, Falcons at the Browns. They have a Sunday night football matchup against Detroit. Hit the bye week. You got Eagles, Buccaneers. You got a Thursday night football matchup against the Packers. Then you face Denver, Saints, Ravens. You got a Monday night matchup against the Buccaneers. You got the Vikings. You got the Saints, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Seahawks, and the Falcons. Man, what a hell of a schedule. Do you think that's over 7.5 or under? Or right?
That's tough, man. That is super duper tough. I think that's about right, man. At 7.5, because that's a tough schedule.
First place schedule.
Who did they come out with?
Against the Bears.
The Bears. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think 7.5 is right, and it's for the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So they got a first place schedule. I don't want to say they backdoored into the playoffs with their record, but somebody had to win the NFC South. I think they won it at 8-9, I believe.
You might as well
like some technicalities and strength of schedule or whatever. I think they came in like that. So yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a tougher road for them, this go around, and they got Chris Braswell, your guy out of Tennessee. That's be a good wide receiver 3 to start. And hopefully he can take over for Xavier Legette. You got Jalen Coker. You went out and spent $180 million on my boy from Philly. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Pass rusher. You're drawing a blank on his name right now. Jalen Phillips.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, they've beefed up the trenches. They got that juice now. The offensive line, Ike Ekwonu, he's still shaky a little bit with the injury. So hopefully he have a bounce back. You went and drafted potential left tackle, and what's my guy name from Georgia?
Monroe Freeland.
I was a big guy big on Monroe Freeland.
Taylor going into his last year there, I'm assuming. So
absolutely. You got, Chuba, you got what's my boy?
Brooks
coming off if he can stay healthy. It's Bryce Young, man. It's on you, man. Like, you have to deliver now.
I will say they have one of the when you see their receiving core, you got Ted McMillan who jumped off the board last year, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, Brazel, Horn, Mechie. Oh, and then you got your tight ends as well with Trimble, Sanders, and like it's gonna be a nice little unit here. But when you go back to that schedule and you open it up against the Bears, Falcons, who's a division opponent, Browns, who not to be slept on, Lions, you hit the bye week early. You hit a bye week in week 5, and then you got the Eagles, Buccaneers, and Packers. Like that is
golly, boy.
Then the Broncos. That is tough. Oh, then you face the Saints. Then you Ravens, Buccaneers. Oh, I'm like, oh my God.
So, man, I think that Broncos game, that's will be a win for them because it's just.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
I think they can get the Broncos because it's just Denver, man. It's like it's Denver. But no, all jokes in the corner. I'm hating there, but yeah, man, that's a tough stretch.
Go to that game, like it's only.
It's in Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, make sure you go and don't invite me. I'm not coming. I wear Raiders jersey out there just because. Like, what are you doing? But I mean, that would be a good look, for you to go down there and see y'all lose to a 5'9" quarterback. That wouldn't do anything but make my day. Because I'm gonna call you right after the game, and be like, "You all right over there, brother?" And gas already $4. You can be mad coming back down the road.
Hey, come on, Trump. What you doing, man?
You doing? Tighten up.
But Vikings, Saints, Bengals, Steelers, Seahawks. Now I'm gonna say under, yo. I don't know. I already don't really. Bryce Young done improve, but I don't like short quarterbacks. That's just my thing. But when he can go out there and he can do it, then he can do it. But I don't say under.
Yeah, and I understand. Like this once again, there not to say there weren't expectations with the Panthers. Well, Bryce Young personally being number one overall pick back in 2023, but now that you've made the playoffs, the expectations, okay, can you take the next step? For me personally, and can them 7, 8, 9 wins? Can you get to 10 wins? Can you be the reason why the Panthers win 2 more games? Can you be that big of an X factor? And I think he has it in him. I don't know, what's going on, with him personally, as far as not, because at Alabama he was
cooking.
That game versus Texas in Texas. Oh my God! I was like, I was in the boat. Hey, whatever we doing, let's get that guy. And I don't know what happened in the first couple of years in the league. And remember they sat him down and got with his head and got in his psyche, and his confidence is back there. So this is a make or break year for him for a couple quarterbacks that we'll talk about. Down the line, him, C.J. Stroud. That's extension eligible, man. But yeah, we'll see, man. 7.5. I'm gonna say they hit right on 7.5.
So you say right on. I'm gonna say under. So Saints. Now the Saints start at the Lions, at the Ravens. Then they face the Raiders. It's a 4:25 matchup. Then they got a Monday night against the Falcons. Sunday against Week 5 against the Vikings. Week 6 against the Giants. Week 7 they are overseas playing against the Steelers. You hit a bye week in Week 8. You got the Week 9 matchup against the Browns. Panthers in Week 10. You got the Bears in Week 11. Bengals in Week 12. Packers in Week 13. Panthers in Week 14. Buccaneers in Week 15. Cardinals in Week 16. 17, you got the Falcons. And then the Buccaneers in Week 18. You already know, I kind of already said that the Saints going to the playoffs. I think they're going to win the South. That was before I looked at like the Panthers roster and everybody, but I'm still gonna go on the limb. I'm still say, hey, forget it. Saints gonna win the South. So I'm gonna say,
Go over.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go over. I ain't gonna be ashamed. I look stupid before I do it again.
I've been looking stupid since 2002, so it's all good. So we cool. I'm gonna go 7.5. I'm gonna go 6.
So you go under.
Yeah, I'm going under. Just because it's gonna be some games that they should win. There's gonna be some games they shouldn't win that they're going to win. This is granted. Health plays involved. This is a clean bill of health. So the only thing that worries me about the Saints as their defense, that I don't see no cornerstone players on that defense. Cameron Jordan, yes, he's back for year 16, but you're not expecting him to be that guy. You got Pete Warner in the middle, so that's probably a cornerstone player. Alontae Taylor, he's moved on. You got Kool-Aid McKinstry, was a second-round pick a few years ago out of Alabama. And for the offensive side of the ball, you got Chase Young there, so he can give you a little juice. But after Chase Young, what do you have? That's proven. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I like I love Banks. I love Talise Fuaga. I love their tackles. Tyler Shuck this year too, where he hit a sophomore slump. And then I have questions about their depth at wide receiver. You got a Chris Olave as Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson's coming into the league with injury concerns, and Chris Olave with with the concussions and stuff that he's had in the past. So if one of them go down, who's wide receiver two to them guys? That's my only question about the Saints' depth. And then Alvin Kamara, he's older. He's not the same AK that he was 3 or 4 years ago. So that's those are my questions and my concerns. So that's why I'm gonna say one of those, and I don't want to wish bad health on any of those guys, but one of those receivers is going to miss time with some kind of injury throughout the season. That may derail a couple of their wins or potential wins. So I'm gonna take the under. The league has tape on Tyler Shuck, and it's up to Kellen Moore to to keep developing Tyler Shuck, which he's done a great job of in his limited snaps that he had as a rookie. But I do like the fact they have Spencer Rattler back there behind him just in case something do happen. And Spencer Rattler has played fairly well in in game time that he's been asked to play, so that's a bonus. I just the depth on the depth on in the wide receiver room scares me a little bit, so that's why I'm gonna go under the 7.5 that's projected by FanDuel, I believe.
And I just might change that because that I see that Chris Olave, Jordan Tyson, Devon Bailey. I mean, he was a 7th-round pick. And then you got Barry Brown, who's a rookie. Bryce Lance, who I think has got some promise, but he's a rookie.
Yeah, he's going to stretch the field for you. He's going to be a field stretcher for sure.
So, and then with it tight end, Jawan Johnson, he's getting older. Noah Fant, he's a former first-round pick, but he's getting older as well. Drafted Oscar Delp. So, oh man.
But I will say right now, if you tell me I'm any quarterback going into my sophomore year and I got Olave, Tyson, Oscar Delp, and them 2 tackles as potential pieces on the offense, that's a good spot to be in. That's a great spot. If you look on the surface level, Delp, Tyson, Olave, and those 2 Tysons, the two tackles and Shuck, that future's bright. The depth behind it kind of concerns me. That's scares me a tad bit.
If you were looking at corner pieces for the team real quick, are there any? you can't look at Alvin Kamara as a corner piece anymore at year 10.
If I had to pick 2 right now, it wouldn't be Tyson because he hasn't proven anything in the league.
Correct.
Olave, he in and out the lineup. Shuck, no, because he's sophomore.
Eric McCoy?
He's a quality starter.
David Edwards?
I would have to go Banks. Banks, man. Banks. That'll be my only guy. And to at least Fuaga, he'll be a quality starter. I will have to go Banks. That's my only cornerstone.
No Cesar Ruiz?
Nah, man. Cornerstone guys, in my opinion, are the guys that's going to no disrespect to they're not older guys. They're older guys, but from what it's the cycle that the Saints are now, in 2 or 3 years, Banks is going to be the apex of his game. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. I think Banks is the only. Not saying he's the only cornerstone in my opinion. Now I could be completely wrong. Could be a bald-faced lie. Fuaga is a quality starter. He can be there with another good year. And then if Olave can stay healthy and Tyson can have a good year of being healthy, then next year he'll get into that cornerstone quality starter type realm, in my opinion. But other than that, no. Just Banks.
All right. So we done with these guys?
Mm-hmm. Once again, Banks, not one of them sexy picks at the time that everybody thinks about. Number 9 overall pick. Not sexy pick. Ain't nobody spent talking about this on Get Up or First Take the next day. But it's one of those necessary picks like we talked about months ago that you need to make when it's not sexy, it's not flashy, it's not, hey, we're not going to put a Kelvin Banks jersey in the team store to hang up to sell. But he's probably going to be one of the most important pieces on your roster because of who your quarterback is, and you want to keep him upright. Just remember that out there, guys. It's not always about the sexy pick. I know everybody wants, the wide receiver, the quarterback, running back, tight end. I get it, but those big boys up front, you see why they go off the board fast.
They hold the foundation.
Yeah, Fano went 9, so
yeah.
The boys go. That's why you get the Joe Thomases, they go 3, the Bankses, they go 9. Those guys are mile orders. You find a diamond in the rough. So just whenever your team's drafting in, you're not. I think of Caden Proctor right now for this year to be exciting. Nobody, most of Miami, they were like, Caden Proctor at 12. Okay. He could be one of them
And
ones
I think they were talking more about, because we get off the rails here.
off the rails. Yeah,
But I think they were mostly talking about like I guess the work ethic is
yeah,
what with him. But I mean, with you got to get the right coaches in there. Who knows? He got the right attitude. Who knows?
yeah. All right, we're gonna reel it back in there. We're gonna reel it back in. I went on a tangent, so
So we good?
yeah.
All right. So the Buccaneers, they were the only team in the South projected at 8.5 wins. They start out week 1 at the Bengals. Week 2 against the Browns at home. Week 3 against the Vikings in a 405 spot. Week 4 versus the Packers. Then they at the Cowboys on a Thursday night in week 5. Week 6 at home against the Steelers. Week 7 they're at Carolina. Week 8 at home against the Falcons. Week 9 they're at the Buccaneers on a Sunday night football spot. Bye week on week 10. Week 11 they got the Lions at the Lions. Week 12 they got a Monday night football matchup against the Panthers. Week 13 Chargers at home. Week 14 at the Ravens. Week 15 against the Saints. Week 16 at the Falcons. Week 17 against the Rams before finishing up week 18 at the Saints. Whew, not bad. Not a bad schedule there. I'm gonna say right on.
You say right on.
I'm gonna say right on because I feel like consistently for like NFC South, I think consistently year after year there's gonna be one of those teams. It's gonna be one of those divisions. It's like who really wants this division? Who's gonna win this division? And it's gonna be like low numbers. It's gonna take you like 8, 9, 10 wins to get it. So, but I'm gonna say right on.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say right on as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went under because there's so much going on, so much transition going on. You got Todd Bowles, he's on the hot seat. You don't have
Yes, he is.
Yeah, you have a pass rusher that retired last week. I can't pronounce his name. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, if I'm saying it right. He retired last week. Sorry. You don't have the heart of your defense, Levante David, no more. He retired in the offseason. You had to lose Mike Evans. He goes to San Francisco. Emeka Ibuka, he's coming back for year 2. I want to say year 2, year 3.
Year 2.
And then you got a rookie in Ted Hurst that you're going to depend on. Is he ready to be the X receiver for this team? And then also the big elephant in the room, you got Baker Mayfield looking for an extension with the Buccaneers. How does that play a factor? How does that play a factor into the season? Is he going to be, focused on this, on the team, or is he going to be, hey, it's going to be in the back of his head all year, wanting security. I know he got a 3-year, $100 million deal from a couple years ago, but he, rightfully so, he wants to get back at the table for more security. And he came out and said that he'll worry about that stuff when the offseason gets here. But we're human. It's going to be in the back of your head. So, you got all that going on, and you got Jason Light. He's probably the longest tenured GM outside of Les Snead and Howie Roseman in the league. He's done a damn good job at drafting and developing. He has Ruben Bain. He took, 15, 14, whatever, 16, whatever the number it is, 15 overall, I believe. And this year's pass drafts, there are going to be expectations are going to be for him to get after the pass rush. After the quarterback and stop the run, year 1. Yeah, man, you lose Jamel Dean to Pittsburgh on a 3-year, 35. So it's a whole lot of going on. There's a whole lot of questions in Tampa Bay, rightfully so. And I think
locked up as well.
Vita Vea, he got a more guaranteed money on his last year of his deal, $17 million. So he could be a trade chip for somebody that want to bring him in and give him extension, and he's well worth whatever you give him. We've seen that in the playoffs, what he can do to a game.
I've been hearing he's at camp. Well, he was at the mandatory mini camp, but he wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah, but I know a team. I know a team that his GM just came from that know what he can do if he want to get take a trade. If you want to come to the dark side, well, I know a GM that seen what Vita Vea can do up front. I ain't saying we're gonna pay you, but hey, we can work on something later on. But that's here nor there. That's here nor there. But yeah, man, I think eight and a half is right on the mark for that. Like you said in the beginning, the number for the South. Yeah, I'm gonna stick eight and a half.
Okay. Bucky Irvin is going to his third season. Kenneth Gainwell got signed there as off season as well, so that could be a nice 1-2 punch there as well. Going into the season, the last team, Falcons, 7.5, starting on week 1 at Pittsburgh, week 2 against the Panthers, week 3 at Green Bay on a Thursday night, week 4 on a Monday night against the Saints. Week 5, Baltimore on a Sunday night. Dang, you got a Monday night, then you got a Sunday night. Then you got the Bears in week 6. You got the 49ers in week 7. At the Buccaneers in week 8. You got the Bengals in week 9 overseas. You got the Chiefs in week 10. Bye week in week 11. Week 12 at the Vikings. Week 13 against the Lions. Week 14 at the Browns, week 15 at the Panthers, not at the Panthers, at the Commanders. I'm sorry, week 15 at the Commanders, week 16 against the Buccaneers, week 17 against the Saints, before finishing up week 18 at the Panthers. Wow. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under 7.5.
I'm going to be cautious here. I'm going to say at the 7.5 because who is their third string quarterback right now? Because if Tua and Penix go down,
Trevor Simmons.
Ooh, and you know about him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's all going to depend on what Tua and Penix can do healthy. To me, because I feel like they got the pieces, they got potentially a top 5 offense if everything clicks and goes right, in my opinion. They lose Tyler Algier to the Arizona Cardinals in the offseason. The defense, you still got the brothers, AJ and his Avion. They're the corners there now. You still got my boy Jesse Bates in the backfield. Roaming the secondary, the deep third, like that. It's gonna be tough, man. Everybody's gonna beat up everybody's gonna beat up on everybody in this division for sure. And I'm gonna say under. I'm gonna say 6. No, I said 7.5. I'm gonna stay at 7.5. And for me, once again, the health of Tua, the health of Penix, because we know Stefanski can coach. We know he can coach because we just see when he did with a couple Browns teams and took them and won Coach of the Year twice.
Yeah,
I want
for
to say
sure. For sure.
so he definitely can coach. So I'm gonna say 7.5 for right now. Anything over that, I wouldn't be surprised, but anything less than 5, I'll be shocked. I will be shocked.
They literally have questions at every position. Quarterback, as you alluded to, with Tua and Michael. Running back, I mean, you got Bijan. After that, you got Brian Robinson, who's been serviceable. After that, you have nothing. And then in the wide receiver spot, Drake London. Jahan Dotson is currently your second. Eliminates the keys, Zachariah Branch. Like everybody else, just that's there. You do got some veteran helping as far as tight end with Kyle Pitts and Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
Darnell
Mooney left, right? He
went to the Giants.
Giants, okay.
But I think their defense is probably going to be on another year of improving. Assuming James Pierce is back, I'm pretty sure he's going to have to miss some games with his mishaps.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be back though.
But he is going to be suspended.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna say under for them. I don't know. This might have to show me.
Yeah, they got the pass rushers and Jalen Walker and James Pierce, but we know Pierce gonna miss time because he wanted to act a fool last offseason. And everybody know what he did. If you don't know, go look it up. We ain't gonna talk about it here because we don't condone that type stuff.
Right.
Um,
I do think what Brandon Dorless showed last season was some promise for the future. Jalen Walker jumping off the screen, I do like that. So, but uh, yeah,
it's
I,
gonna be the health of those quarterbacks, bro.
yeah. Do you want to stop right here, or do you want to go to the AFC South?
We knock the South out.
All right, for the AFC South, here are the win totals for these guys right here.
Mm.
9.5, both for the Jaguars and the Texans. And then you got the Colts sitting at 6, 7.5. You got the Titans sitting at 6.5. Going to the let's go to Colts schedule here. And week one, they got they at home against the Ravens, at the Chiefs in week two on a Sunday night, against the Texans in week three, at the Commanders in week four, which technically is overseas. Week five, you're at the Steelers. Week six, Titans. Week seven, at the Vikings. Week eight, at the Jaguars. You got the Cowboys in week nine. You got the Dolphins in week 10. You're at the Texans on a Thursday night in week 11. Week 12, you got the Giants. You hit a bye week in week 13. Week 14, you're at the Eagles. You're at the Titans in week 15. You got the Bengals in week 16. At the Browns in week 17. And you face the Jaguars in week 18. See, you got Alec Pierce signed him to a nice deal in the offseason. Um, Sauce on a resurgence year. He got a bounce back. I had to get you, man. Sauce will be on the revenge tour this year, so he will get that number 2 spot back after Pastor Ted. Man, 7.5. I feel like they can go over 7.5.
And this is why I say they don't, bro. I don't see it. Yeah. I don't see it, bro.
Daniel Jones was on a comeback player of the year trajectory before he got injured. Well, a couple games before he got injured. But I told people that it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Do it again. Do it again this year. Do it again this year, please.
I ain't gonna. I might have a new candidate, but I told people you and Darrell, y'all told me I was on drugs. He said. You
said I ain't know what to say. Yeah, I did. I lied. I did. Boy, I told you was on something crazy. Well, go ahead.
But for the first however many weeks before he got to that before the injury, a couple games before the injury, that's when he was playing out of his mind, and then it all started to dip, and he just showed why he was Daniel Jones. So I don't know. I mean, they signed him to like a
2-year, 88.
2 year, yeah. So yeah, extra couple dollars, extra couple years. I don't know, man. Another year in Shane Steichen's system. It just it gives me a positive for them.
I don't see it, bro. You lose Kenny Moore. He wanted some new money, but you let him go. He's a free agent. I don't think anybody signed him.
No.
You got Sauce back. Your Sauce should be ready to roll this year. You got JT. He's looking for a new deal. And then you got Daniel Jones coming off an Achilles. And we all know how coming off an Achilles, that can play with your mind a little bit as far as being yourself. Yes, you signed Alec Pierce to a 4-year, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. You lose Zaire Franklin in the trade to the Green Bay Packers. But you have some good draft picks, and they're going to be rookies.
CJ Allen.
Yeah, they did. They drafted CJ Allen in the second round, which I really like. I like CJ Allen.
So also picked up Bryce Betcher as well.
Yep.
Out of Oregon.
Yep. So, but yeah, I think this will be a step back for them. I'm gonna say under 7.5. Is it 7.5 for the Panthers?
For the Colts, yeah.
Colts are. Yeah, I'm gonna say 5. I'm gonna say 5 because I'm going under. I just don't have no faith in them, man. For some reason I don't. Like nothing on that team gives me hopes or optimistic. Nothing. I don't know if I'm being disrespectful or not, but I just don't see it with them, bro.
I feel like you spot on because I can definitely see I see where you're coming from. You want to know their running back room?
JT and keep going.
DJ Giddens going into his second year out of Kansas.
Okay. We ain't see nothing from him last year, barely.
Behind him, you got 3 rookies: Seth McGowan, Anderson Castle, and Lincoln Pear. Whoever those guys are, those are 3.
So the other 2 probably ain't gonna make the roster. They'll be on the practice squad. And who's Daniel Jones' backup? Sam Ellinger?
Anthony Richardson and
He's going to be traded.
Riley Leonard, Easton Stick.
What we doing?
All right. Well, let me go right on.
All right. So
right on.
So like, what we doing, bro? Like, I ain't being disrespectful, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, besides Jonathan Taylor, let me not be disrespectful. Tyler Warren, absolute dog. JT, absolute dog. After that on offense, Alec Pierce, yeah, he can give you the long, deep ball, whatever, but Josh Downs, you got CJ Gardner, you got Sauce out here getting cooked up, you know what I'm saying?
After Pierce and Dales is not a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ashton Doolin, who been with the team forever.
I remember when Doolin was with them. I remember when Doolin was with them back then, boy.
He was there when Andrew Luck was there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He might as well, you know what I'm saying? Like
Nick Westbrook, Deion Burks, who was drafted in the 7th.
Deion Burks, yeah, Deion Burks. He can give you a little something in a return game and as a slot wide receiver.
And after that, that's it. I mean,
yeah, man, I don't like that wide receiver room like I thought I would. Yeah. Man, the days of Marvin Harrison and T.Y. Hilton gone. They traded Michael Pittman, to be fair, to Pittsburgh last offseason. So let's be fair. But yeah, man, 5 wins. 5.
Going to Houston here. Week 1, they got the Bills. Week 2, they got the Bengals. At the Colts in week 3. Week 4, Dallas. Week 5, at the Titans. Week 6 at the Jaguars. Week 7, you got the Giants. By week 8, week 9, you got the Chargers. Week 10 at the Browns. Colts in week 11. Ravens in week 12. You got at the Steelers in week 13 on a Sunday night. Week 14 at the Commanders. Jaguars in week 15. Week 16 at the Eagles on a Thursday night. Short week. Then you got a Monday night against the Packers at Green Bay. It's probably cold as hell up there then. And then week 18, you got the Titans.
9.5?
9.5. I think with experience, I think they can. I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna give them 10 wins because of that defense, man. That defense is so good, so good.
And
that defense give you 7 wins, but that defense give you 7 wins on its own if we keep it above.
Yeah. Facts. And then with CJ going into his a contract year, so the microscope really going to be on him to see if he can outperform what he did last year.
He has to. He can't play no worse than what he did last year, especially in the playoffs. I mean, I think he threw me a pick, you a pick. Everybody could have picked that game versus him, boy. So he can't play no worse than that. I'm a big CJ fan. You know, I'm a big CJ guy, and I think he cannot afford to have the season that he had. the season that he had last year and the playoff game that he had last year. He can't afford to have one of those. He will get extended at some point. It may not be 50-55. It may be 45-50, or it depends on, what they bring to the table, what he asking for. You got Nico Collins back, you got Tank Dell, you got the two Iowa State receivers, Higgins and what's my other boy name? Drawing a blank right now.
Noel.
Yep.
Jalen Noel.
Yeah, so you got weapons.
Also picked up David Montgomery in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Run the ball. The Joe Mixon experiment didn't work. We don't know what happened there. So yeah, it's I'm gonna go over just because I have so much faith in that defense and D'Amico Ryan as a kid coach. So I'm gonna say 10 wins for the Texans.
Experience counts in this situation.
Experience matters.
For the Titans, projected at 6.5 wins versus the Jets in week 1. You had the Eagles in week 2, had the Giants in week 3, had the Ravens in week 4, got the Texans in week 5, the Colts in week 6, Browns in week 7, got the Bengals in week 8, bye week, Jaguars, the Cowboys in week 11, Jaguars in week 12. So you're playing them 2 out of 3 weeks. Commanders, Lions, Colts, Raiders, Steelers, Texans.
Whew.
This cannot be another year of Ken Ward and the Titans playing like ass again. But in saying that, at 6.5 wins, I'm going under.
Going under?
I'm going under.
I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna go right at 6, bro. Because I think I would like. Let me rephrase this. I would like to think that Eric Alamander takes another jump. Calvin really comes back healthy. You add Carnell Tate to the mix. The running back room concerned me a little bit, but it's all about the Carnell Tate to Cam Ward connection that really going to get this team going. The defense, you got Simmons, you got Robert Saleh. He's going to be running the defense. You got Jermaine Johnson coming over from the Jets. So I think I'm going to stick with, last year they won what? 2 games, 3 games, 3?
Yeah, I believe so.
So I think they can double that. I think Cam Ward's good, a decent enough quarterback going into year 2 the way he can double that and get 6 wins. And yeah, I think he can do that.
And I believe in a portion of those games, it came down to like 1 score, I want to say, right?
Yeah. Because remember, they weren't there. They were in a couple games. I don't know exactly the teams last year that they played, but they were down to like a final drive, and whether a turnover or an interception or loss of downs, stopped them from winning the game. So heck, they took they played the Raiders. They lost 20-10, but if it weren't for a strip sacking or something, they probably could have won the game for real. So now how would that look, boy? Whew, but.
So you going right on for the Titans? We'll
I think they can double that up.
For our last team at 9.5, at the Jaguars, Browns, at the Broncos,
Win.
Patriots, Bengals, at the Eagles. Well, facing the Eagles overseas. They got 2 back-to-back games where they're playing overseas. They got the Eagles and they got the Texans. Week 7 hit a bye. Week 8, you got the Colts, you got the Ravens, Titans, Giants, Titans again, Bears, Steelers, Texans, Cowboys, Commanders, Colts. That stretch right there in December with Bears, Steelers, Texans, and Cowboys. Man, that's kind of brutal right there. Before finishing up with Commanders, who knows if JD5 is playing, and then finishing up with the Colts, which is always dangerous being a division opponent. Uh, they got some experience. They were a playoff team last year. Uh, I'm gonna go right at
9.5. I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna have them going eight wins. Um, Year two in Liam Combs' offense, we're seeing the strides that Trevor Lawrence has made. Um, a couple games went their way by the bounce of the ball. A couple games didn't go their way by the bounce of the football. And like you said, the league is a 50-50, of course it's a 50-50 league. One bounce of the ball your way, you win the game, and vice versa. Um, I would like to see Travis Hunter play deep. I want to see him as a full-time corner. I think that what he's going to be, who knows?
I still
I
think
think,
some packages at
oh,
offense.
for sure. Do we get the BTJ from his rookie year? If we get the Brad Thomas Jr. of that year, of his rookie year, we're going to have something. They had an unorthodox drafting tight ends and pushed them up around maybe whoever you talk to, draft gurus or whatever. Um, Offensive line, Anton Harrison, is iffy. Josh Hines Allen, do he have another help? Does he have another pass rusher on the opposite side? Uh, Trayvon Walker, of course, can he keep ascending? You got Eric Armstead in the middle, which has been a solid player for them for the past 2 years. Linebacker core, you lose Devin Lloyd to the Carolina Panthers. We didn't talk about that, but we'll talk about that later on in the summer. They lose Devin Lloyd. Um, yeah, man. So I think they take a step back because you always, you have 1 year of Trevor Lawrence, then you have a down year of Trevor Lawrence, and I think this year, be no different. And
I just changed mine to the under.
I I think it's going to with the schedule. I think it's going to be some tough opponents in there that you're going to have to beat. A couple of them opponents to get to the playoffs. Not to mention, you got the Texans in your division, who has a really, really, we just said, an outstanding defense with the best corner in the league, in my opinion. Um, and Derek Stingley. So it's going to be tough for them. And no, I know you probably going to read the custom underneath your breath, but yeah, man, I think it's going to be a tough road for them.
Um, yeah, just looking at that schedule, facing the Texans twice. I'm trying to look to see exactly did they split with the Texans last year or
Um,
I'm about to find out here. So they played Houston in week 3. They won that game. Then they played. So they did split. They split with them. Uh, the Colts. They beat the Colts twice last year. So it's outside from the Texans. It's still gonna have to win some of those other games, man. I just changed my tune. I'm going under here.
yeah, and like I said, it could be just a lack of regression in the team, and things like that happen.
And I mean, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, as much flack as people want to give him, they were in that game against the Bills in the wild card round.
Absolutely, down to
So,
the final interception. They could have won that game easily. We
yeah,
could have had
so
we could have had a Denver Jacksonville game, to be honest with you, and that would have
it,
been a doozy.
we would have won that one too. Um,
I mean, tomato, tomato. So I mean,
uh, we could be with you guys tomorrow or one of these days coming up this week, but we'll go to the next division. Sure, some other current events will happen. But you got anything else? But this been a good show. Good show.
yeah, man, it's been a good one. I know I haven't been on, and I'm pretty sure you've had other, people you've been on with. I haven't been on like 3 weeks since I've been back from Vegas, so that was a once in a lifetime experience. If you ever get a chance to go out there, you'll have fun. And my favorite team in the world was there, so I got to go to the stadium. They were closed, but I got to go and go up on the CD player and see it, and meet some of the people, some of the staff at the stadium. So that was real nice. Met some people out there that I keep in contact with. Hey, if you ever want to come out to a game, just let me know, and we'll make some stuff happen. So I mean,
Watch them lose.
watch them lose. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna be drunk though if I do. So it don't even matter. We'll be go be all the pieces. But nevertheless, man, it was pretty cool to see in person for the first time. But yeah, man, I'm happy to be back. Yeah, man, it's the summertime is getting ready to kick in. I know this the dog days of summer. The NBA Finals is over. Congratulations to your Knicks once again. I don't think we've I know we talked about it, but you know, first time in 53 years. I did clock right twice a year. So I mean twice a day. So congratulations to the Knicks. We got the NBA draft coming on in a few seconds here.
Oh yeah, I told him. I forgot all about the draft coming
The
in.
draft come on at 8 o'clock. So my Sacramento Kings, we got a 75-year drought. So hopefully can we get us a player here to give me a little hope for the future. I'd never buy another Kings jersey because after we traded De'Aaron Fox, that was it. That was it for me. But you never know, things might change, man. And these four guys, Boozer, Wilson, Debansa, and Peterson, those supposed to be once in a every blue moon guys. So I'm definitely gonna, interested to see who goes where.
Eight
The
up
world,
too.
yeah,
Eight up.
A Cup, that's my guy. That's who I'm fingers crossed. But see what the Clippers and Nets might be some hoes tonight and do something stupid. So, but the World Cup's going on. The USA is won both of their matches surprisingly, which is a good thing. And
Back to back
Messi back to
for
back,
for
and
the
then
first
you
time
got
like 30.
yep, and then you got Ronaldo going off today in there when Messi being the um, all-time leading goal scorer in whatever World Cup history, whatever for his team. So it may be for us hardcore football guys, it may be a dog days of summer for us, but trust me, once camp kick back in another a month here, you're gonna see a strong reporting here extensions being done, people getting cut. There's still some good. By the way, there's still some good free agents out there. You got Debo, Diggs, the Brandon Ayuk saga where he's going to go. He's going to be a commander. You got Joey Bosa out there that's still a free agent. You got some good players out there that can contribute to some football teams that I look to be signed here the next month or so. But other than that, man, we want to ramp it up. Do what we do. We got 30 for 30. We're gonna put that together. I mean, 32 and 32. We're gonna put that together here soon, and we can get ready to go to work and put our head down and assess each of these football teams. Offense, defense, special teams, head coach. The expectations that we have for them for certain players, and we're gonna give you guys a treat. I know I am. I know last year this was my at this time this is my first time doing this with you, and I learned a whole lot. But this year I'm gonna really, really step my game up and do the homework for sure. I'm really gonna do the homework. I'm gonna have some tough questions for you, for our fans out there. I'm gonna have some tough questions for you guys, and I want some feedback. And just let me know, how you feel about, how we do. What can I improve on? What can you improve on? What you would like to see from us as a show? Hey, throw us some ideas. We don't know everything. We still learning in this field, just like the next person
For
that's
sure.
on the podcast. So if you got some stuff that you want us to talk about or some other show ideas, inbox me, inbox Larry, and we'll make it happen for sure. But I'm open to ideas, and I'm gonna be ready to roll or something. I'm gonna be locked in, as the kids say. So for me, that's all I got. Larry, I'm gonna turn it back over to you and let you close this bad boy out.
Hey, real quick, while we was on the NBA subject, what you thought about the Giannis trade?
Huh? I okay. So my sister, she's a super huge Heat fan. She's been a Heat fan since '03 D Wade. So if you know '03 D Wade, '06 D Wade, she's been a fan since then. So I like it, I like it from the Bucks perspective. They get back players. You get back players, you get back picks, the three first round picks, second round pick, you get back Khalil Ware, you get Hero, Hawkes. You get so much cap flexibility to do what you want to do to build a roster around whoever that may be. And then for Miami, it's always been Pat Riley, wanting to get the big whale. And it's like I said, it's going to be pressure on Giannis to win a championship. Bring one to Miami because we've seen Pat get Shaq back in '06. They got one. We've seen LeBron in 2012. They got one. They got Jimmy Butler. They went to the finals. They didn't win, but they got to a championship. So you have to give them one. And then how they construct the roster around Giannis with the money they do have, I don't know. They said Normal Powers probably have to be out of there to get some cap flexibility. I did hear Anthony Simons may be somebody they bring in for the vet minimum if he want to get his NBA career back on track and then try to cash in 2027 off season. But there's so much moving and shaking to happen here. I like it from the Bucks perspective, and if for the Heat perspective, I know they're elated. They get a big whale to potentially make a deep playoff push. I think they may be a top 4 seed right behind Detroit, Cleveland, and New York. I think the Knicks are here to stay for a couple more years at least until they hit the aprons or whatever. And I'm not too sure about the technical second apron, first apron. I'm not that too deep into it.
Yeah, James Dolan already said he not trying to enter this.
He ain't paying that. But back to the Giannis thing, I like it. I like when Miami Heat basketball is good. So Ed Spoelstra, we know he's a Hall of Fame coach. So yeah, I like it from the Bucks perspective more than I do the Heat perspective. The Heat's more of a win now type of team. And the Bucks are building to the future. And let's take these picks. Like they have 2 picks tonight, 10 and 13. Do they take those picks and take 2 guys? Do they package those picks up and go up and get a Darius A. Cuff that they said that they might be interested in as a point guard of the future? I don't know. So
because they already talking about shipping Tyler Hero, so
yeah, he could be on his way to Detroit for all I know. So who knows?
They need scoring. This NBA season probably we might have to break out some NBA covers too.
Yeah, so I really I don't know a lot about the NBA as far as like aprons and mid-level exceptions and all. I don't really know too much about it.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you about NFL all day long, but I'm trying to get more into the NBA side of it, talking about buyouts, mid-level exceptions, first apron, second apron, mid-level exceptions, vet minimum. I'm trying to learn all that stuff now so I can talk to you guys about more NBA stuff down this line. So I'm just I'm putting my head down there and learning what I can. I'm asking questions to most of my friends. Hey, what did this mean? What did that mean? So when this topic do come up for discussion, I could be more prepared and more educated to speak about it instead of speaking out of the side of my neck. But yeah, man, this is gonna be a wild summer for. It's gonna be a good summer for you because you got a championship to celebrate until October, whatever. And then I know y'all get the first game. It's gonna be special. I'm not a Knicks fan. I hate the Knicks, whatever the case may be, but it was good to see Spike Lee, see his team finally win after 10 years. So, but yeah, man, that's what I think about the Giannis trade and a little bit of the NBA. But if you don't have anything, Larry,
and we are out. We already said we wasn't gonna go long, and here we are out.
We're out at 20 minutes now. So
everybody, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you watching. Like Lamont said, give us some feedback, and we will be back with you guys soon. So